Okay, so welcome to the CPE postgraduate session, and you will check the two people online can hear. So we welcome, and what I'll do is just read the acknowledgement of country. Flinders University acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of the lands on which its campuses are located. These are the traditional lands of the Arrente, Dagoman, First Nations of the South East, First Peoples of the River Murray and Mallee region, Jalwangana, Larrakia, Narrandjeri, Ramangeri, Warramungu, Waterman and Yolngu people. We honour their elders past, present and emerging. Manina, Pudni, Ghana, Yata, Ana. Welcome to Ghana country. So, welcome to the CPE, which is Continuing Professional Education, or often many people call it postgraduate. So either one would be fine. I'm the Deputy Teaching Program Director in charge of CPE. So I'm really glad that you've come, and would like to really welcome you. And just to, I suppose, mention the degrees offered, and then I'm going to ask you in a minute to just give an indication of what you're doing. So the degrees offered are Master of Leadership in Education and Grad Cert. I won't read them all out, but you'll see the list of degrees that are there. And the questions, and we'll ask these questions of the people online as well as here. Who's enrolled in a graduate certificate? Who's in, two in graduate certificate, and who's enrolled in master's degree would be the remainder. And how about online?
Haven't got a response. Oh, here we go. They're typing at the moment. So
yeah, okay.
A response. Oh, here we go. Law Jing is master's degree.
Yep.
And Tani is. So we've got one master's degree and one grad certificate.
Okay. Welcome, and I think what I'm going to say is relevant to both, but you may have, when we get to questions, you may have some specific questions about that will be, the answers may be different for, either one. So we'll get to that stage. The specialised interests, so is that leadership, wellbeing and positive mental health, inclusive and specialised education, cog psych, or no particular specialisation. So we'll go through the people who are here. Which one's your master's degree? Yep. Yep. And oh, okay, good. And okay. 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 Okay, good. And the two online?
There's a master's, MISE.
Yeah,
And
inclusive.
then the grad cert in wellbeing and positive.
Okay. So that's a fair variety, which is great. So thank you for that. Now, each degree has a range of topics or core options according to a course rule. And as you start a degree, there's a course rule associated with that. And so that's a rule about what you need to do, which may be different from, someone 2 or 3 years ago. In master's degrees, there are minors consisting of 4 topics or up to 4 that can enable you to specialise within the degree. So here are the minors, which in many cases corresponds to the graduate certificates. If you're doing a master's degree, by the way, if it was master's degree in inclusive and specialised education, you can actually specialise in some other minors. So you might do leadership within that, or you might do wellbeing within that. So there's some flexibility to do that. Now, I'm just stressing here that because the topics that you choose to do may vary from year or semester to semester, it's really important that the first thing that you do is to develop a study plan. So you get a sense of not only what you're doing this semester, but what that might be next semester, and if you're doing a master's degree, the 2 semesters after that. And you can use this year's timetable to get a sense of when things might be offered. But if you're kind of planning out of when you're wanting to do topics, then you can avoid getting to the stage where you're in your last semester and you're needing to do certain topics, but they're not offered. Okay, so if you can plan out ahead and plan, say, a year ahead or so on, then you can ensure that you're able to, or try to ensure that you're able to do the topics that you're wanting to do. So a study plan is really important, and also I find that students like to negotiate that and to switch things around and move things between semesters, which is okay, but it's important that you, and you can see this is a student in a master's degree, and they've chosen the 4 topics that they're doing each semester, and what they've also highlighted is the minors that they're doing. So you can see which 4 topics belong to the minors. So what I'm doing here is just highlighting to you the importance of developing a study plan and what you're going to do where.
The suggested study plans for all of your degrees are available online. So you can, there's a study plan website that has study plans for every degree in the university or most degrees in the university. You can search for your degree and it will come up with the suggested study plan for the mid-year entry students in your degree. And you can follow that or contact us if you've got questions about that.
It's really useful to kind of be organised, and it also, if you're studying part-time and you're thinking of you might be doing your grad cert over a few years because you're doing a topic a semester, then that kind of planning is still really useful about what you need to do when. And it gives you an opportunity of negotiating sort of ahead of time too, where there are options. So each topic has a Canvas site. Come in. So we've recently moved to the information management system called Canvas. So each topic will have a Canvas site, and it would formerly Moodle and formerly called Flow, but now we're working with Canvas. So all of your topics should be available on Canvas, and it's useful for you to understand that the staff will have been very rapidly in the last couple of months, very rapidly learning about Canvas, and so they would have put new materials on Canvas and so on, but it may not be perfect, and so there'll be some improvements over time and so on. So we are learning how to use Canvas and how to, use it in the best way possible. But it's turning out to have some wonderful advantages, I guess, that are fantastic, that will be great for students as well to use. So there should also be on the Canvas site, there will be a statement of assessment methods, assessment tasks, resources, and so on. You have access to that from today, and so it's really useful if you can get onto your Canvas site and have a look at that and make sure that you can at least see some aspects of the topic that you're doing, particularly the assessment tasks and when they're due. And so you can start to also map out what it is that you've got to do and start planning your time. And that's especially important if you're doing 4 topics, because those assessment tasks may well be, all due in the same week for the 4 topics that you're doing. So it's really important that you plan out and map out when they're due, and you're doing it early on rather than later on, closer to the assessment time. So, and it's important that you read as much information about your topic or topics as you can. So if you've got some questions, you can ask the lecturer, you can approach them and just check out what that information actually is. And also your assessment tasks, so you know what you're going to be asked to do as you're going forward. In some cases also, and certainly in topics I run, there might be a pre-assessment or a pre-assignment, so which might be due this week. So that, so there might be some expectation that you have a look this week and start thinking about something ahead of time. So it is really important that you look at that information this week. This is an example of a Canvas site, which you notice down the left-hand side, there's access to a whole lot of things. And so what you're seeing here is the home screen, but the really essential things that you have a look at is the next one down, which says modules. And modules will give you a series of links on the Canvas site, and you can click on each one. And the initial ones will be information about the topic that you should have a look at. And you can see also, if you go down the list, you'll see assignments. If you click on assignments, that will take you straight to the assignments. And you'll be able to see straight away what the assignment dates actually are. And I'll mention this later, but you'll also see one down there that says extension requests. So if later on, when your assignments are due, if you find something has happened in your life and you need an extra few days or an extra week, then if you request an extension request, then that will in most cases be approved, and it just means that you're not late with the assignment because you've got an extension approved. So I'll mention that later too. So here we go. So what I've done here is I've clicked on modules, and you can see the list. Hopefully you can see the list down there. It's got welcome, topic overview, teaching team, key dates, and so on. So each of those are clickable links, and a page will come up and that you can read that. Okay, and so that's the key part, is clicking on the modules section, from the home page. So moving. Okay, so I don't know why that's not moving, so there you go. So if I can also mention the referencing style, because what you're doing in doing master's degrees or grad certs is you're expected that what you will be writing is academic writing. And so that will involve you referencing some things that you've read. And the referencing style is APA 647. Seventh is the new one, and so is preferred. And what I've got here on this screen is a link to something called EndNote, which is a tool that's free to you as students that you can download. And it's a tool that assists you with referencing, and is also a place to store your journal articles or, that are in PDF. And so my advice to you is absolutely to use, to download EndNote and to use it, because, hello, come in, and you'll find that it saves you an enormous amount of time. And the university also provides an introductory course in it, and there are some on the website. There are some information that you'll find useful, and there are many people who use it many lecturers that you can ask for some help. So that's a key thing. If it's something to get started on early on, so that you're starting to use it with your first assignments and build up your library of references, and you will find that by the time you've used it, a few times, you will find that it actually saves you hours and is, a very rapid way of citing while you're writing, which is the term that's used within Note, so that as you're writing your assignment, then, and as you're adding references, EndNote is automatically developing your reference list at the same time. Okay, so it's something I've been using probably for, what would it be, about 25 years, and wouldn't be without it. So it's definitely, if you're a really busy person, it's an asset for you. There are lots of APA referencing guides, by the way, and here's an example of one of them. Flinders has got one, but you can Google a search on APA referencing, and that can be very helpful. So as I mentioned, if you have a need for an extension, please request. Don't just not hand your assignment in, and don't just let it go for 7 days or 15 days or whatever. Request an extension so that you've formally got a new date, and there are very few reasons, I don't know of any really, very few reasons that you wouldn't have that approved. So there's on the left-hand side of Canvas is an extension request link. So that's really important. It might be also helpful to contact your topic coordinator. We call them TCs here. So, or your course coordinator, which would be the grad cert or the individual master's degree, or myself. And please do that if you have any questions at all, and also the college office and people who are supporting students. Please do that, and the earlier that you check out your question, the better. So we are happy to help and happy to sit down and talk about study plans and any particular support that you would need. So that's really important. If you have particular needs or particular aspects, it can be useful to raise that with the topic coordinator and the person teaching your topic, so they're aware of that. If issues arise in your life that means that more flexibility will help, then please let us know. Don't stay silent, because we won't know about that, but we are more than willing to support you in the ways that we the best ways that we can to make sure that you're able to complete your topics and complete your degrees successfully, which is what we're interested in as well as you. We do have things called I grades, by the way, so that it is possible if there's something disastrous happens in your life, it is possible to negotiate some extra time, and also extra time beyond the semester if that's needed. So we do have some flexibility in case difficulties arise in your life. So, which is important to let us know about. So, what do I do if I have an enrolment or course advice question? All general university queries can be directed to Flinders Connect, and there's a website address there. College Services office located in the education building as well, and there's an email address there. Questions on study plans, so there's an email for course advice. So hopefully I'm making it clear to you that we're more than willing to support you and help and do whatever we need to make sure that you are completing your degree and that you're enjoying study while you're doing it. So, questions. I should, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to the questions in a minute because there are just a few other things about orientation week that I just want to go through. Then I'll come back to the questions and you know, I'll answer those. This week, if you know you've got access to Wi-Fi, you can use your FAN and Flinders password for that. And for requesting an ID card under the quick links section of Compass, and new student section of Compass can also be helpful. There's a new students website. Enroll and register. If you haven't already, please enroll in your in your topics as soon as you can, so that those people teaching the topics can see the list of students. Okay, so it'll be important to do that in the next day or so, so that we can take into account those who are enrolled in the class. Okay, and unique student identifier. From the 1st of January this year, all tertiary students must have a USI, and new students applying for Commonwealth assistance will need to provide their USI on their Commonwealth assistance form. To check if you have an USI, you can go to that website, and if you don't, you need to apply. And Jeremy can tell you about what happens if you don't.
Well, there's a couple of things. Obviously, you first up won't be able to graduate if you don't have a USI. But equally, we'll be contacting you if you don't have a USI, or your details don't match up with the details of students. There are two scenarios. Details don't match, and then we have to be an unenrollment process. Sorry, there'll be an unenrollment process as well if people have either of those situations, but you do just need to be aware we will contact you. It won't just happen automatically. We will contact you. And the other thing to note as time moves on, there are various scenarios where people need a USI. As it's a bit of a clue in the title, it's unique. So you only get your one number and that stays with you the whole time. So that's why you need to check if you've got one already, you can check that. And if you don't, then you apply for a new one.
So I imagine it's the case is if you even moved to another university or in 10 years did another degree, then
that USI stays with you.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And so that's the Commonwealth government kind of wanting that, and they're wanting to better attract people through their tertiary education. So that's really important. So that you know you check that out. That's a fairly urgent thing to check out, I think. Okay, so this is about the learning management system changing. I mentioned that. So we used to have something called Flow, which is through the module system. Now we've got Canvas, and all topics should be on Canvas now. So just kind of be aware of that there's, you know, kind of what we used to have and then what we now have in terms of Canvas. Canvas, as I mentioned, Canvas has got some fantastic new things that are available, and will, you know, is exciting moving forward. So parking, you need a parking permit. Hopefully you've worked that out already. Although parking I think is free for this week, but please make sure that you know, because I think the fees are pretty steep. So please make sure that if you're driving here that you have a parking permit. You can catch the train, or you can use the bus. So, students who identify with having a disability can book a tour, can check out accessibility and so on. So, and the accessible routes. Scholarships, so information about scholarships is available there. Safety, if you experience or witness unacceptable behaviour or harassment, please make a report. And so there's an address to do that. There's health counselling and disability services, and Oasis is available at Bedford Park, and you're welcome to check that out this week. So Flinders University actively promotes awareness of and respect for diversity, and so there's a prayer room, conversation groups, equal opportunity advisors, Pride network and Good Vibes experiment. It's not, I don't think it's usual within postgraduate for there to be required textbooks and resources. But if that does apply in your topic, then please pay attention to that. So make the most of orientation. So we've got O Week is this week, and there's Finding Your Way. So you can come back and look at that. Student Union Connection Program, help is available, and orientation videos. Connect Week is next week, and there are a range of things going on in Connect Week as well. I will go back to, actually we'll go with questions now. So questions, if we've got any from the students online or any from this group, then I'm happy to answer those. Or if I can't, then I'm happy to, get back to you with some specific answers. So questions? Yes.
Yes, in my study plan,
Yes.
There is two things, minor and option. It's up to me.
Yeah.
But when I see the minors, there is some topics can be found in learning disabilities as well, gifted education.
Yeah.
So if I take this topic, it will be accounted in two minors or just one?
It would just be one minor, and the gifted education doesn't run anymore. So so you would need to make a judgment about which minor it is that you're wanting. So the topics that you're doing would only apply to one minor. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So
when you go to graduate, when you've completed your studies or when you're making inquiries about your study plan and your topic choice, someone like myself, I'm an enrolment and course advisor, and I work with 3 other people as well. We will look at the topics that you've done, or we'll talk to you about the topics you're wanting to do, and you'll be able to indicate to us, I'm wanting to minor in learning difficulties, for example, and we'll be able to look at that and see, right, that topic does count towards more than one minor, but in your case, you're wanting it to count towards that minor. So where there are topics that are counted across more than one area, in your case, it will only count to one, but you'll get some choice with that. We won't make those decisions for you.
but it does reinforce the importance of the study plan and mapping out what it is you're doing. And also, you remember that colour there was for a minor. If you map out where your minor is, or you may have 2 minors, if you're mapping out where your minors fit, then you become clear about what you're doing and what's contributing to that. So, so that's really important. All in the time that I've been at Flinders for 10 years, and the time I've been here, the most serious difficulties that students have are when they only do their planning a semester at a time. When they don't think ahead and they're not mapping out when their topics are, then, they can run into problems with not being able to do their last topic or something like that. So please plan ahead, please map out and get some help also from the variety of people here. So you're happy with, and you can change that study plan, by the way. I should have said that nothing is set in stone. But if you're planning and you're mapping out, then suddenly you might be suddenly interested in something and want to do that topic, And that will be all right to take this topic out and substitute that topic, but then you can see the implications of it. Okay, so that's okay. We have lots of students who, you know, midway through their degree discover something that they are passionate about or developing some passion for, and that's great. And so there's, you know, there is a fair amount of flexibility, but just talk to us about that. Yep. Okay, so other questions? Are there any questions online?
None
No.
online.
No, okay. Please, if you have questions, then here's my email address, and you know you can you know email a question to me, and I can answer it if I can myself, or I can refer you to a particular expert in one of the degrees that you might be doing, and answer your question, because there's a commitment to making sure that we answer your question and try and help you with any issues that arise. So yes.
I just have one question. I'm in the grad cert leadership with potential to go into masters.
Yep.
I work here in the outreach.
Okay.
And I know that in the master's program there's a lot of research opportunities.
Yeah.
If that was something that I go into and supported by where I work, how does that research sort of focus and the intention of that get directed? Is that dependent on who's running the course and their focus areas, or is that negotiable?
No, I
That's
think
a conversation, if that's something that could be something I look at in the future.
the focus, what you can do at Flinders is you can do a dissertation as part of your master's. A dissertation is really the equivalent to kind of an honours degree, and means that you are able to apply to do a PhD. So the benefit, I guess, in doing a dissertation as part of your master's means that on completion of your master's, you're then eligible to do a PhD, to apply to do a PhD. Now, the focus of that research is your question, it's your interest, it's, it doesn't depend on, any other person. So one of the topics that you will be advised to do that's, would then be part of your master's, that would be getting you to identify your research question, to do a literature review around that, and then to develop your research design. So what kind of methodology, what kind of data would you collect, and so on. So the focus, and then, once you've developed that, then if you were going on to do the dissertation and then going on to do PhD, then you would be matched to an appropriate supervisor based on your interest. Okay. So, so all of that I think is important, and the option to do a dissertation as part of the master's is attracting a degree of interest for students, and so there are more students who are doing that, and as we're going into the rest of this year and next year and so on, it's becoming a more popular option, and certainly certainly makes sense. Dissertation is about 18,000 words, and dissertation is sent away to 2 independent examiners, and you get examiners' reports, and then you upload your final dissertation to the library, and to get credit for that, and I guess that then becomes a piece of academic work that you can then cite and build on, and it makes enormous sense to, as part of your dissertation, kind of do a pilot for what you might do your PhD in. So there's starting to develop, I guess, expertise in a certain area. Does that make sense? Yeah. So when you do your grad cert, you will find that your graduate certificate kind of is embedded within the master's. So you'll find that it fits within that, and probably it's a good idea to have a conversation with someone, like pretty early on, to map out what what topics you may do and what they would then count for. And if you're wanting to do a dissertation, start mapping that out, start planning that out, when you might do that and so on and what you might do. So hopefully that makes sense. Does that sort of, I've picked up your question was really about, this is about your interest and your focus, not someone else's.
Yeah.
Mm.
How broad is it, or is it specific to existing research? Yeah, that's perfect.
No, it's very.
Very well to the work that I do.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to
Yeah. No, it's very broad. It's really dependent on you and what you're wanting to pursue. And we kind of go with that, and that's why the initial thing of working with you to develop your research question is really important, so that it's your question, and it's genuinely a question, not a topic. So it's about something you're puzzled about, something you don't know the answer to. That is the journey that you're then going on to find out some more.
A couple of questions come
Yeah.
in. They're actually all sort of technical, specific about topics this semester, and they're saying that one of the students has enrolled in 4 topics but can only see 2 of them at the moment. And another one says they've got 1 semester topic and a non-semester course. And I've just emailed back that if they are semester 2 topics, they should be visible now, but non-semester 2 topics, they might not yet be available. And I think they come 77 days before the topic starts from the semester.
Online topics may also not appear on their timetable. That may be what they're referring to.
Okay.
So if you're enrolled in a face-to-face topic, it will have a timetable. You will see that timetable in your student information system. If you are enrolled online and there are no scheduled classes for that topic, it won't be in your timetable. That doesn't mean you're not enrolled in it. It just means that topic has no timetable.
But you should have access to a Canvas site for every topic that you're enrolled in. 7 days
before the topic starts.
Yeah. Yep. And so in most cases, that would be today, being 7 days ahead of Monday the 24th, which is when the semester starts, kind of in general. So it is important, I think, if I just quickly go back to, if you have any questions, which one? Yeah. So that one would be okay. So if you've got any questions at all, please, email and sort that out and just check things out. So.
So that email comes through to myself and my colleagues who are the enrolment advisors. So anything to do with your study plan, your topics, if you're not sure if you've enrolled correctly, we can help you. If we can't help you, your question will now be in the system and we'll be able to get it to the correct person. Okay, so that's the best thing about submitting an Ask Flinders request or submitting an email to Course Advice, is that we can then make sure that your question gets to the right person. So you don't have to send 10 emails. You can just contact us and we'll make sure that the right person is able to get back to you.
What's the preference for Course Advice versus Ask Flinders?
Anything related to your degree, come to Course Advice. If you know your question is very general, like a parking question or a fees question, submit an Ask Flinders request. If you have a question and you don't know who you should be asking, just submit it to Ask Flinders and it will get sent through to the right person.
And that the Ask Flinders is one word at flinders.edu.au.
And you can also actually log in to Ask Flinders through your Opta account and lodge a request online.
Yes.
Just quickly, just to double check, do we need to get our study plans approved by anyone, or can we just enroll in the once we need?
Yeah, you don't need to get your study plans approved. It's just if you are unsure and you'd like to get some advice, then you can meet with someone to talk about it. But you can enrol in your topics, and it's just really advice to you that you have a bit of a plan, that you don't just focus on the semester that you're in, that you try and map out what you're then going to do in other semesters, because as I mentioned, not all topics are offered every semester, so you have to plan out, when you're actually going to do them. And if you ask for some advice, then people can tell you. I mean, nobody can predict what topics are going to be offered exactly next year, but we can look at what was offered this year and say this is probably offered semester 1. Okay.
As long as you're meeting the requirements of your course rule, your study plan is just there to support your planning. So yeah, we don't need to sign off on it or anything, but if you're not sure or you've got any questions, the plan can be helpful.
So the course rule, it's really the map of the degree that you've enrolled in, in the the year semester that you've enrolled in. It is kind of like the it's the rules around what will allow you to graduate. So the particular topics and so on, and that's what you have to meet to be able to graduate, or have a waiver or have a statement on your academic record that says something else, which has allowed you to have a variation. So that is possible. We can do that. Okay. So I think we're getting close to the time when we'll finish. But please, if you've got any questions, please ask course advice or email me or whatever, that we can then answer your questions and provide that advice early on. Please, as I mentioned, don't stay silent. Don't not say anything. If if you're worried about something, or you've got a concern, or you've got a question, whatever, ask about that and get it. We can get it sorted out, and you'll just find that we're pretty flexible. We don't tend to have rules that are rigid. We can work around things for you to ensure that you're successful in your degree and in your topics and so on. So.
One more question that's coming online. It's about EndNote.
Yes.
The student says they've downloaded EndNote, however, it asks for a product key during installation. This is on their personal computer.
That means that they've made an error in terms of downloading it, because it won't need to ask them for it.
Okay.
If they just take that, get rid of that version, delete that version from their computer and go back through the website and very carefully work out which one they have to download.
Is it the EndNote website or the Flinders website that they do it through? If they put EndNote in search, then they'll go to in the Flinders website.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a particular website that's got information about EndNote, and you just have to be really careful about the version that you're downloading. There are, anyway, I'm very happy if this student continues to have any issues, please get them to email me, and I'm happy to recommend how they might sort it out.
Is that because the subscription is website?
Yes, that it would be, because you'd have to to be able to, you know, download this particular version of EndNote, you'd have to have used your PAN and password to, yep. So you have to, you know, be an authorised person to download it as a student, yeah. Yeah, no, that's right. Anyway, it's worthwhile, just so that, you know, because if you're interested in doing dissertation or PhD or something, it's well worthwhile getting used to EndNote, because you can start to develop a library, and even though you may finish as a student, you can actually buy EndNote. I mean, while you're a student, you get it for free, but you can actually buy EndNote as a software, so your library becomes transferable. So it becomes your library that you can then continue to access EndNote, and EndNote will pick it up. So if you become an
Sorry, I'm getting confused. So it's the lecture, the welcome lecture? Next door.
if you start writing academically and writing for journals, then you will find that EndNote is fantastic, because it will help you automatically change between referencing styles. And so, you know, each journal that you might write for might have a different referencing style. Flinders has APA for education, but when you read various journals, they may have Harvard, they, you know, may have something else. EndNote allows you to write an article and then to determine which referencing style you want to use in it. So drop-down menu. So you can have the same article and then change your referencing style, you know, a couple of times without having to rewrite the whole article. So it's useful in particular if you're thinking that that's something you may go forward to use as well, and also saving time. Fantastic time saver to automatically do your reference list while you're writing the essay. It's great. Okay, we might finish there. Thank you very much to all of those who've joined the session, both online, and fantastic to see people here. You know, these sessions only work really when you've got, I think, real people in the room and people online who join. So thank you very much for your time, and hopefully this has been helpful for you. Thanks.
The lunch for our college for mid-year orientation for our whole college, which is education, psychology and social work, starts in a couple of minutes just downstairs. So if you haven't already been aware of that, hopefully you'll come down for that as well.